following episode depicts acts of violence and murder. Listener discretion is advised. It's around 8:45 p.m. on February 23rd, 1991. 28-year-old Bruce Wood and his 5-year-old son, Bruce Jr., walking down Chestnut Street in downtown Worcester. They're heading home with their dinner from McDonald's. Bruce Sr. got his son a Happy Meal. They're spending the weekend together. Father and son are about 10 minutes away from Bruce's apartment on Quincy Street when a man ran up to Bruce, stabbing him multiple times. The fatal stab through the heart. The killer took Bruce's wallet and fled through the parking lot of Fanning Trade High School. When police arrived moments later, officers found Bruce Jr. sitting on the sidewalk, crying next to his father's body.
Unsolved Worcester is brought to you by the following sponsors. Follow the crowd through the doors of Donut Homies and say hi to Haley Noel, the donut queen of Worcester's Canal District. This month, the specialty donut shop features special Easter-themed flavors like Cocoa Nest and Rainbow Peep. Donut Homies is open inside the Worcester Public Market at 160 Green Street every Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. Online ordering with delivery and pickup options is available at donuthomies.com. Follow Donut Homies on Facebook and Instagram for monthly menu drops, specials, and more. Donut Homies, everything sweeter with the homies.
Welcome to Unsolved Worcester. I'm your host, Dan Yeager. Today's episode, we share the unsolved murder case of 28-year-old Bruce Wood. One of 10 unsolved murder cases we explore during Season 4 of Unsolved Worcester. Bruce was killed on Chestnut Street while walking home with his son after picking up their dinner at the former McDonald's on Main Street. He was stabbed multiple times and robbed. Bruce was murdered right in front of his 5-year-old son. As he was dying, Bruce whispered to his son, "I love you." Unsolved Worcester takes a deep dive every Tuesday and Thursday into the unsolved murders and missing person cases under investigation by the Worcester Police Department's Detective Unit. Our goal is to remind residents of the Worcester area, both past and present, that there are dozens of unsolved homicides and missing persons cases that need resolution. We hope we can be the spark needed to solve a case. Be sure to visit Unsolved Worcester on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen to all episodes for free at unsolvedworcester.com on your favorite podcast streaming platforms, and watch our accompanying videos on YouTube. The element of surprise is likely to be the only thing that helped Bruce Wood's killer run up to Bruce and his son, stab Bruce multiple times, steal his wallet, and run away. It all happened in a matter of moments, and the reality of Bruce's murder sent shockwaves throughout the city of Worcester. Who could do something so awful, murder a father in front of his son? Bruce Wood was 28 years old at the time of his death. He was described as rugged and as someone who would handle himself. He studied martial arts and self-defense. Bruce was a graduate of Doherty Memorial High School. In the 5 years before his death, Bruce worked as a delivery driver for Everett E. Mink Company, a contracting business in Worcester. He lived with his parents in a second-floor apartment at 8 Quincy Street. The family had moved there from Worcester's Green Island neighborhood. It only lived in the city's Crown Hill district for about a year. By all accounts, Bruce was a good man and a good father. He spent whatever time allowed with his son and spent whatever money he could afford on clothes and toys for young Bruce. He never married his son's mother, but supported her in raising Bruce Jr. however he could. Bruce took his son from Friday to Sunday every other week. They would play on the swings at the park or go play wiffle ball. And each visit, they would stop and get a Happy Meal at McDonald's. When he died, Bruce left behind his son, Bruce Jr., his mother, his father, and 5 siblings. The funeral mass was held on February 27th, 1991, at St. John's Church on Temple Street. Bruce is buried at Notre Dame Cemetery on Webster Street. Around 8:30 p.m. on February 23rd, 1991, roughly 30 minutes before Bruce Wood was stabbed to death on Chestnut Street, he was standing in line at the McDonald's at 407 Main Street in downtown Worcester. He was picking up dinner, some hamburgers for him, and a Happy Meal for his son, Bruce Jr. The downtown McDonald's closed in 1997, its owners citing a loss of business after the food court of the former Worcester Commons fashion outlets opened. The Main Street restaurant location is now home to Worcester Pizza. When Bruce Sr. and Bruce Jr. left McDonald's with their dinner, it was very cold outside, around 15 degrees at 8:45 p.m. They crossed Main Street and took a right up Pleasant Street, starting about a half-mile walk home to Bruce Wood's family's apartment at 8 Quincy Street. But the father and son would get less than 10 minutes away from Main Street before Bruce would say goodbye to his son forever. From Pleasant Street, the pair took a left onto Chestnut Street, heading toward Irving Street and Chatham Street. Just past the intersection of Chestnut and Aldrich Streets, behind the Fanning Trade High School building. It was around 9 p.m. when Bruce Wood's killer ran up to Bruce with a knife, demanding his money. According to reports, the suspect said, "Give me your money." Bruce said he didn't have any money, and the man responded by stabbing him over and over again in the chest, including once through the heart. Bruce collapsed onto the cold sidewalk of Chestnut Street. 5-year-old Bruce Jr. knelt beside his father, watching him die. The McDonald's burgers and Happy Meal were scattered on the ground. With his last breaths, Bruce Wood told his son, "I love you." When police arrived, officers attempted to provide medical aid to Bruce. He was taken by ambulance to the former Worcester City Hospital on Queen Street. At 9:23 p.m., Bruce was pronounced dead. The medical examiner determined the cause of death as multiple stab wounds. There was no wallet on Bruce's body, but there were $4 in the pocket of his jeans. Bruce Jr. was taken to his grandparents' apartment on Quincy Street. Police officers stopped and picked up a Happy Meal for him from McDonald's. In the days after Bruce Wood's murder, the Worcester community rallied to support Bruce's family, and especially his son Bruce Jr. Bruce's employer, the Everett E. Mink Company, started the Bruce Wood Memorial Fund at the former Flagship Bank on Shrewsbury Street to help Bruce Jr. By late March 1991, more than $12,000 had been contributed to the Memorial Fund. Donations were being collected from everywhere, including Everett E. Mink employees and even students at the Fanning Trade High School. Members of the Fanning Trade Student Council went from classroom to classroom collecting money for the Memorial Fund. Donated a check for $271. A 4-band benefit concert was held on March 22, 1991, at the Polish National Lions Club on Lafayette Street. Blues and rock bands filled the concert lineup and donated their sets to help raise money. Tickets were $5 at the door, and all proceeds were donated to the Bruce Wood Memorial Fund. A large 2-day benefit concert was held in April 1991 at the former Sir Morgan's Cove on Green Street in Worcester's Canal District. Bruce was a huge fan of contemporary rock and followed a local band called the Three Believers, a popular U2-inspired trio who performed the memorial show. Again, all proceeds went to the Memorial Fund. Local businessman Paul Ricard even offered a $5,000 reward to anyone that could provide information leading to an arrest in Bruce's murder. Police hesitated to speak with 5-year-old Bruce Jr. They said it was unlikely he could have given officers a description of his father's killer, and said he was too young to be subjected to questions. But Bruce Jr. wasn't the only witness to his father's murder. Thankfully, another witness was passing by at the time Bruce Wood was stabbed. The witness was the person who called the police to report the mugging. Police were able to gather a description from the witness's account. The suspect they were looking for was a black man between the ages of 20 to 25 years old, just 6 feet tall and weighing around 165 pounds. The man had short black hair and was wearing a brown jacket to his knees, white sneakers, and a black hat. On February 27, 1991, the same day Bruce Wood was being buried at Notre Dame Cemetery, police released a sketch composite of their suspect, hoping a member of the public could identify Bruce's killer. At the time, police were investigating Bruce's murder in connection with 2 other assaults earlier that month on Highland Street. The suspect in the 2 assaults was also carrying a knife and demanded money from his victims. And while there were similarities between the suspect in both cases, police weren't 100% convinced that they were the same person. 6 detectives were assigned full-time to the murder case. But when calls from the public started coming in after the sketch of the suspect was released, it led police to few leads and many dead ends. And more than 30 years later, no arrest in the case was ever made. The image of a young son kneeling on the sidewalk next to his dying father on a chilling late winter night in 1991 still lingers. During Bruce's funeral at St. John's Church, Father Michael Foley said to the many mourners on hand that Bruce's last words of "I love you" to his 5-year-old son illustrated the goodness in Bruce's heart. Father Foley said Bruce loved life. He was full of energy, and it was terribly unfair that he should die. Foley ended his eulogy with a message we should all be reminded of. Don't wait until you die to tell the people around you that you love them. That gift must be spoken. Thank you for listening. I'm Dan Yeager. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please consider clicking the like button for us. And if you subscribe, the next episode will show up in your feed. Click the bell on the right and select all, and you'll get a notification of when the next episode is ready. Have any thoughts you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. We do read them all and respond to as many as we can. Anyone with information about what happened to Bruce Wood are asked to contact the Worcester Police Detective Bureau at 508-799-8651 or send an anonymous text at 274-637. Write TIP WPD plus your message or send an anonymous web-based message at worcesterma.gov/police. Come back on Thursday for episode 6 of Unsolved Worcester, season 4, the August 1st, 2003 double homicide of Frank Vanny and Wahoo Ose Owusu. The young men were shot while sitting in their vehicle near the intersection of Franklin Street and Portland Street in downtown Worcester. Special thanks to the Worcester Public Library, the Worcester Police Department, the City of Worcester, and our sponsors for making this possible. Information on the murder of Bruce Wood was gathered from multiple resources, including the Telegram and Gazette. The Unsolved Worcester podcast music is provided by Tom LaBelzik of the Worcester Jazz Collective. This episode is written and produced by Pat Sargent. Drone footage provided by Ron Scott at New England Skypics. Videography and editing by Colin Turner. Sponsorship information announcer Chandler Walsh. This episode is supported in part by a grant from the Worcester Arts Council and the National Endowment for the Arts. To find out more about how National Endowment for the Arts grants impact individuals and communities, visit www.arts.gov.